Have you ever noticed that in today's day and age, the men you're dating are playing just as many social media games as real life games? And have you noticed that it always seems to end up in you speaking to him when you thought you were done speaking to him? I'm going to let this secret out, but there's actually a strategy to this that works pretty much every time on you. Which is why on today's live show, we're going to be discussing 7 social media games men play to get you chasing after them instead. And this knowledge will prevent you from ever again desperately chasing after a man who wasn't even doing anything for you in the first place. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here or present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Welcome, all of you beautiful souls. How are you all doing? How you all doing? Okay, good to see you today. Good to see you. I'm happy to see you. I'm excited to see you today. Okay, who we got up in the chat today? So I see we got Melita. Irina's over in the chat as well. Where's my mouse? Irina's over in the chat. We got Ivy, our beautiful YouTube chat member. We got Linda, one of our YouTube members as well. Who else we got in the chat? I see we got Enlightened A, our OG over in the YouTube chat. Let me scroll up and see who was first today. Who was the first person in the chat today? It was Tracy Niles. She was the first person in the YouTube chat today, so special shout out to her. And of course, the most wonderful Missy America holding down our YouTube chat as our moderator. And over in the TikTok chat, we got SH. I see we got Sharice here. Sharice is definitely excited today. I see we got Ashley here. We got Dana here, Bear here, Amber here. Is Scotty here? I know Scotty usually always here. I didn't see her message. Okay, we got Ashley here. There's plenty of Ashleys here. Amala here. Okay, Liz here. Welcome all of you beautiful souls. It's so good to see you. And today we are gonna, Scotty is here, I see. See, I be remembering people, okay? And I remember the people that are always here, always participating. So good to see you all. And I am so glad to be having this discussion with you today because I know this is one thing that you guys have been struggling with. And it dawned on me yesterday while I was rewatching the show that this is something that needs to be discussed, okay? Because a lot of you are making mistakes because of social media. So we're going to have this discussion. We're going to go deep like we always do. Get your mind out of the gutter, okay? And we're going to actually hopefully get some value out of this for you and me as well, okay? Because I want to learn from you in this discussion. So we're going to start off hot and heavy with number one. Number one is going to be unsolicited memes, okay? I know that the title sounds funny for point number one, but I promise you, like, this is actually dead serious. Okay. Number one is unsolicited memes. So what I mean by unsolicited memes, what you're going to find is when you're in these talking stages or confusion stages with these men where you don't know what things are and you don't know where you stand and you're going back and forth and it's just not it's not a committed relationship. Okay. Bottom line, you're going to find that men are going to test you in multiple ways, but specifically they're going to test whether or not you're serious about withdrawing yourself, especially when you try to set a boundary, okay? So, for example, if you try to set a boundary with a guy and you tell him, hey, I'm actually not into just being casual, a hookup thing. And it seems like every time that we text or talk, you're only here to do some meetup and hook up. And that's not why I'm here. I'm also not here to be a pen pal. I'm not going to be here to spread my legs on video chat and be a WhatsApp warrior and a video chat vixen. And so I'm not going to be doing that. And if you're here to do that, you're not going to get my time or energy and I'm not going to be speaking to you, right? Let's say you draw that boundary and you say, look, I'm done with you. And you legitimately stop speaking to him. What guys will do, this is a very funny new age trick because they want to get you back talking to them again. When you try to draw a line and draw a boundary and say, I'm done speaking to you or I'm not speaking to you until you meet me where I'm ready to be met at or until you meet the standards of the type of man that I need in my life. What guys are going to do is they're going to begin sending you unsolicited memes. The reason I say they're unsolicited is because I know, listen, I'm one of you. Okay. So I know how things are actually going. I know that when the guy you're talking to, you get accustomed to sending him Instagram reels and sending him TikTok videos. And for some of you who might be on the older side, nothing wrong with that, but maybe for you, it's Facebook memes. Whichever one of those three it is, depending on your age and your demographic and who you are, you're doing one of those things with the guy you like. And you're sending memes back and forth that apply to you that you guys find funny. What he's going to start doing when you try to set a boundary, this is very sneaky. He's going to start sending you memes, right? Knowing, right, to try to test you to see if you're going to respond or give some sort of reaction. Why? Because you drew the boundary that you weren't going to be speaking to him. But a lot of times guys don't really feel like you're not going to be speaking to them. So they send you these memes to see if you're really serious about not speaking to them. Are you following me so far? And it's a very sneaky one, because a lot of times guys will do this to kind of bring some lightheartedness to the situation and get you back in the mood where you start saying to yourself, damn, I do kind of miss talking to you. Damn, maybe I was too harsh on you. Damn, maybe I was taking this a little bit too seriously or making this a little bit too deep. Right? It's a very easy way to bring some lightheartedness to the situation that's happening, and to make you feel like you're the one taking things too seriously. You're the one taking things too far by saying, hey, I'm not here to talk to you. I'm not here to mess around with you. I'm not here to play around with you. And he wants to, let's laugh about this thing. Let's laugh about this inside joke. So let me send you this meme or this thing that we regularly laugh about. Even if you just like my meme that I send, at least that's acknowledgement. And this is where I want you to understand. This is where the game comes in. You want to call it a mind game or whatever game, a social media game. This is where the game comes in, because the moment you acknowledge him by liking the video or even sending your little emoji reaction, trust me, I know how we're actually doing things in real life here. And the moment you react to that in any way, shape, or form, that's not just viewing it and not responding or just not even opening it in general, what's going to happen is he's going to get that ego boost of knowing to himself, despite the fact that you said you were done speaking to me, I still sent you a meme and you gave me some sort of response or acknowledgement. So regardless of the fact that you drew this boundary, it tells me that you can be broken. So if I just stay consistent, sending you memes, making this situation seem more and more lighthearted, eventually you'll break, or eventually I'll have enough sliver, there'll be enough of a crack in your armor or in the cement that I can slither my way back inside your good graces if I send a really nice, well thought out text in a couple of weeks, or for some of you who are really weak, in a couple of days. Very sneaky, okay? And for a lot of you, when a guy does that to you, when he starts sending you memes and making light of the situation and just trying to get you to laugh at something that you're supposed to be able to laugh at together, it's an easy way for you to start messaging him again and say, you know what, I apologize for what I said. I was a little bit too harsh. I do kind of miss you. I do kind of miss laughing with you. I do kind of miss the inside jokes that we were sharing together. And you know what he's doing when he sees that message? He's fist pumping in the air, because all he had to do to get you, not even just get you, but get you now walking back everything that you just tried to stand for. All he had to do was send you a couple of funny memes. And now you've been broken. And now you're the one chasing him. And now you're the one telling him you apologize. Imagine how embarrassing it is for you that you're apologizing to a man about standing on business or having boundaries. Imagine how embarrassing that is for you. And imagine how unserious you look in his eyes when you're doing that. We talked about this yesterday when we were in the Discord. And for those of you who want to send in your question in the Discord, make sure you go send in your question in the Discord before we get there. Okay, we talked about this in the Discord, but when we're going through a story, I can't remember who the name was, but we talked about this when guys see how easily you can be broken, it's like something that they can't unsee. And once they realize that regardless of whether you have boundaries or standards, that you can be broken and they can circumvent that without by getting you to not stand on your standards or boundaries, they will never again take you seriously and you'll forever be a joke to them. And once you're a joke to men, it's done. And when I say it's done, I just mean your chances of being taken seriously by them is done. It's over. Okay? So I don't want that for you, which is why I'm letting you in on this secret that unsolicited memes are 100% gonna come to you, especially when you try to set a boundary. And this is one of those things. Okay, what I also mean by unsolicited memes, let me even make this more relevant for some of you who are maybe on the younger side, right? Snapchat as well. Okay, I'm actually gonna dig deep into this because a lot of you need help with this stuff. Because I know some of you are in, someone said TikToks as well. So this is the 4. Depending on who you are, it'll be Snapchat it'll be Facebook memes, it'll be Instagram Reels, or it'll be Snapchat's back and forth, right? And this is the thing, or TikTok videos. And this is the thing, for some of you, and I need to address this on Snapchat, for some of you, even when you stop talking to someone regularly or they're not in your life anymore, you'll continue to keep a Snapchat streak with them, thinking like that's not really actually speaking to them, but you guys are still no contact, but the Snapchat streak is meant to represent something totally separate from being cut it all out. You're making yourself look weak. And you're also making it easier for these guys to manipulate you by playing this game with you. Because once you set a boundary and the guy gets a sense that when you set a boundary of, hey, I'm done with you, or hey, this is a boundary for me that you crossed and I'm not going to be speaking to you anymore, but he can still send you memes and you still Snapchat him and you still send him some memes sometimes and you still respond to his memes and all this good stuff, right? I know it sounds silly when I'm saying it, but this is something that you guys are actually doing. All it shows him is that I don't have to take you seriously. Why? Because if you were actually serious about your boundary, you wouldn't be Snapchatting me. You wouldn't be responding to my my Facebook memes. You wouldn't be responding to my Instagram Reels. You wouldn't be responding to anything. Are you following me? Okay. I know it sounds very foolish and childish, but trust me, in today's day and age, we all do it. So if you don't understand the social media game, you won't understand what's actually happening when you try and set a boundary and then all of a sudden he's sending you memes as if nothing happened. That's a lack of respect for the fact that you just said, this is a boundary and I'm done speaking to you. He's basically spitting in your face or slapping you in the face, depending on what you're into, right? And telling you, I don't even believe that you're serious about withdrawing from me and this relationship. And I'm going to prove to you and me that you're not serious by sending you memes, knowing that you'll respond to them. And I can make light of a situation that I know is supposed to be serious to you. Why? Because I don't care about what you care about. I only care about what I care about. So if you're mad and you're upset, I'm going to make it so that you're not mad or upset. Or I'm going to literally bombard you until you give up on being mad or upset. Are you following me so far? Okay, right? Melita says, very disrespectful, not funny. And I want you, this is why we're having this conversation, because I want you to take it as disrespect, okay? I'm not trying to turn you into a pessimist, but I want you to take it as disrespect when guys do that. When you try to set a boundary or you tell him he's done something wrong and you actually withdraw from him for a valid reason, and he begins sending you memes as if nothing happened, or sending you TikTok videos as if nothing happened, or Snapchatting you as if nothing happened, that is a sign of disrespect. It speaks to the lack of respect he has for your own boundaries. And whatever stance or position you take in the relationship, he doesn't respect it because he feels like he can still message you and make light of the situation despite you taking the situation seriously. He's basically saying, I think you're a joke, so I'm going to make a joke out of this situation. Okay. I'm not saying that to hurt your feelings, but I just want you to realize that if you're going to demand respect, because I want you to demand respect. and you are going to receive respect, you have to be aware of the ways people will try to bring you down, or the way people will try to essentially disrespect you, whether directly or indirectly. Okay, I need you to be aware of that. So number one was unsolicited memes. Number two, this is where some of you are going to get triggered. Another really great social media game that guys are going to play, they're going to start posting what I call suspect stories. Okay, this is where I really need you to pay attention. For those of you who love this is the part where you stop pooping, okay, and you suck in your poop. Suspect stories is essentially when a guy understands, okay, we're either in no contact or we're doing a thing where I know you're mad and you're upset with something that I did or I said to you. Because I know you're upset about something I did or I said to you, I'm not actually going to acknowledge the fact that you're upset, and I'm definitely not going to be apologizing to you and chasing after you because you're upset or angry or sad by something that I did to you. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to force your hand. The way I'm going to force your hand is by posting on my Instagram story, my WhatsApp story, my Snapchat, my Facebook story, whatever it is, the app of the choice that you guys use together, right? That you guys are on the most. He's going to post to his story, and he's going to post a story that is suspect in nature, i.e., a story with 2 wine glasses instead of 1. And on one of the wine glasses, it looks like there's lipstick. Or himself out on a dinner where there's 2 plates and you're thinking to yourself, who's behind the second plate, right? Something along those lines where it's just enough for you to say to yourself, what's going on here? Are you on a date? Are you going out with someone? Are you meeting up with someone? This is suspicious. And what happens is this is exactly how your mind plays. You open up your, let's say your Instagram, you see him post a story, you watch it in the first 30 seconds because you're an addict, okay? And he knows you're an addict. You open up that story, and as soon as you open up that story and you see 2 wine glasses instead of 1, and then you're analyzing, oh my God, is that red lipstick on the wine glass? What's in the background there? Is that Sarah's fingernail? And then you start typing in Sarah's username on Instagram, and then you start trying to triangulate pictures on this. Okay, so where was she at this time? Okay, she posted this story, but this looks like a similar background to this. That's the same shade of lipstick. How dare he? And then you get right on your phone and you start typing up a storm. I can't believe you would do this to me. You think that you're just gonna abandon me, and then you're gonna go out on a date with Sarah after I told you that I want to go out on a date, and then you're literally gonna take her to the same restaurant that I said I've been wanting to go to. You're the worst man. And you start typing up a storm, going crazy, spiraling. But you know what's the funniest thing about that? When you start doing that, that is exactly what he wanted you to do. And that is exactly why he did that. It's the exact reason why he posted a suspect story, so that you would be triggered and he would never have to apologize for anything that he did. Because when you're triggered like that and you're going to message him like that in that state, you're not going to be thinking about whatever it was that you were upset about or whatever it was that you were trying to stand on business about. You're going to be thinking about why you're so upset and triggered at this very moment by something he posted. And then the moment you talk about how upset and triggered you are, now you're going after him again. You've broken the no contact, or you've broken the whatever the silence was, or you withdrawing from him. And now you're the one going after him, telling him, why would you go out on this? Why would you do that? And you're essentially chasing after him instead now. Okay? It's very slick, because now he's gotten you back talking to him and speaking to him. Even if you're angry, at least that's emotion. This is why I always tell you guys, the best way to show a man that to actually make him feel like he needs to make a change and make an adjustment is not by showing him that you're so angry and upset with him and yelling and screaming at him. No. It's by withdrawing from him and making him feel like you're disinterested. Because the moment you do that in this scenario where you see the suspect story and then you start spamming him with messages, he immediately knows, I got you. I got you. I got you right where I want you, in a place where you're angry and upset and emotional. And when you're angry, upset, and emotional, I can manipulate you. I can get you to do what I want. And at the very least, you won't be withdrawn from me. And if you're not withdrawn from me, then I still have a chance of using you and getting you to do what I want. Because you know what's funny? When you send him that message and you spiral like that, he can start telling you a story about, oh my God, I only went out on this date because me and you weren't talking. And if I was just able to be with you, I would be with you right now. This is what they'll say. They'll say things like this. If you told me to leave right now to come to your place, I would come to you right now. And then you know what happens when he starts talking to you like that? You think to yourself, yeah, come over right now. Why? Because you're already in a heightened emotional state, not thinking straight and not thinking about the fact that you literally weren't contacting him because you wanted to prove a point and to show him that you mean business. But now all of a sudden you've literally just invited him over to your place. But when you're in such an emotional state like that, spiraling, you don't realize that exactly how you responded and reacted literally gave him everything that he wanted without you getting anything in return. You don't realize that because when you're in an emotional state like that, you're blinded to it. But this is why I want to make you more aware of that when I bring up suspect stories, because I want you to understand how he's bringing out particular emotions. And someone just said it, Vesti just said it. It's fear that he's invoking in you. She said, I love invoking fear in men. But in that scenario, when they're posting suspect stories, they're invoking fear in you. And they're using that fear to trigger you and get you in an emotional state where you cannot make rational decisions. And what's likely to happen is the decision that you don't make is going to actually benefit him more than it benefits you. Because you reaching out to him, you yelling at him, and then him inviting him bringing himself over to your place to apologize for it or to talk about it actually more benefits him than it does you, because he's gotten you to break the no contact of your own volition and without ever apologizing to you or without ever acknowledging that he did anything wrong or that he needs to make an adjustment. And so he wins both ways and you get nothing. Smiley face. Okay? And I'm saying this because I want you to be absorbing this so that you can actually start thinking to yourself when you're seeing these social media games happen live in front of you. I want you to start thinking to yourself, why is this happening? And actually start thinking to yourself, what emotion or response is he trying to evoke out of me by posting this or doing this that way? And be aware of what your natural inclination is when you see that thing being done, because that's probably what he was trying to trigger in you. If that's your natural response that you feel, that's the response that you actually need to be scaling back or saying to you, oh no, I see what you were trying to get out of me by doing that. I'm going to stay the course, not get emotional, and continue being withdrawn from you. Okay. A lot of these games that they're going to play, they're going to do it, especially when they've noticed that you've either withdrawn from them completely or they can sense that you're trying and attempting to withdraw. I tell you guys, relationships, a lot of time, as scary as it sounds, they're a lot about control. Everyone is fighting and battling for control. So when guys get accustomed to being able to have control over you, and then they realize that they're losing their grip on you, they're losing their ability to control you. And I'm even talking about emotionally, right? They are desperate to gain that control back over you, even if in some cases they don't plan on necessarily using you for pleasure. They might just want the ego boost of knowing if they wanted to use you for pleasure or if they wanted to control you, they still can, because they still have that grip on you. Okay? It's an ego boost in itself. And so a lot of guys are going to check in or periodically do things to pee you off or to trigger you so that they can continue having that emotional control over you. It's keeping you in a state where you're constantly triggered or in fear or in fight or flight mode, and your responses are solely based off of emotion and never based on logic. He can continue to control you that way. I'm just going to be super real with you, okay? And I want you to be thinking about that when you're going through these things, especially the social media games, okay? This is not saying this to scare you, but I want you to be aware of these things and why they are happening. When you start thinking back to your relationships and your situationships, this will probably be really obvious to you what was going on now that I'm talking about this in a more structured, strategic way. Okay. So unsolicited memes was number 1. Suspect stories, number 2. Okay. Now, number 3, this is a very sneaky one. This is a real sneaky one. Okay. Number 3 is texting to ignore. Okay. Remember how I just told you in the point earlier that men are going to start to try to periodically check back in to remember or remind themselves, because it's really for themselves, remind themselves that they still have control over you. That's an ego boost in itself. I know some of you have been in the position, and let me know if this has happened to you in the chat. I want you to say yes or no if this has happened to you in the chat, where you've been in a situationship or a talking stage, whatever, and in the process of that, right? Let's say there was a period where you were no contact or you guys weren't really talking as much. And then out of the blue, he'll message you. He'll say something random like, he might even just say, I miss you. Or he might just say, yo, I seen something the other day that reminded me of you, right? Just anything that he could possibly message you to get you to respond. You respond, and then he ignores you. Let me know if that's happened to you. I don't know if I said the point. The point number 3 was texting to ignore. Okay. If I didn't say the point, right? Let me know if that's happened to you. And the reason that's happening, it's not, see, this is why I want you to understand. When these things are happening in your mind, you were probably thinking when you were going through it that this is a coincidence that this happened. But what I want you to understand is, no, it's not a coincidence. It's actually a strategy. And this is why I'm here for you, because I'm explaining to you the strategy. Okay. So he's actually texting to ignore you so that he can still acknowledge, both for you and him, that he has control over you. And if he were to message you again, if he were to reach out to you again, you would respond because you still care enough about him that you still want to see what's up to him, and you're still willing to entertain him if he were ever interested enough in you. Lisa just said it, they're dangling a carrot, right? And they're not even dangling a carrot for the purpose of actually using you a lot of the times. They're dangling the carrot in front of you just to remind themselves that they have that much control over you. That you'll be like a silly rabbit scrambling around trying to chase the carrot. Oh, please, 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 please. Do you want to be with me now? Oh, are you messaging me because you actually want to be in a relationship now? Oh, I would love that. Are you actually ready to be with me now? And then he's just like, oh, perfect. I just wanted to remember that you were still desperate enough that if I messaged you out of the blue, you would message me back and you would continue to entertain me because your life is so boring and uninteresting without me that if I'm not in it and nothing's going on, the moment I try to hop back in it, you'll gladly accept me back. Okay? I'm telling you the truth. That's the reason they're texting you with no sort of plan afterwards, and they're texting you and they don't even bother to reply to you afterwards, because it wasn't really about texting you anything that they wanted to talk about, because if they wanted to talk to you, they just would. It's really about reminding themselves that, yep, I still have control over her. Yep, I'm still the man. Yep, if I really wanted to, I could still utilize her. And it's crazy, because the moment you allow them to come to the realization that they still have control over you, you go back to being uninteresting. The only sliver of anxiety that he had towards you, he literally got it relieved the moment you responded to him, because you reminded him that even though time has passed, he still has you in the same emotional state, or he could easily get you back into the same emotional state that he once had you when he had all of this emotional control over you. I know that it sounds horrible when I break it down like this, but I want you to understand what's really happening, because I know when a guy texts you and ignores you, you're sitting here like, what was the point of that? Seems like such a crazy waste of time to send me a message and then not respond. Okay. CDM says, does he read TikTok comments? Yes, I read TikTok comments. Yes, this is 100% live. I can see all of your messages. Okay. Very, very important that you understand that that's going on, because these are part of the things that when a guy messages you out of the blue randomly, or in the midst of you guys doing the no contact thing, and he just sends you a seemingly random message for you to respond to, I actually want you to keep your composure and not respond. Okay. And I see this is the really, 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 really tricky part, because the men are not dumb. Okay. They might be a little bit emotionally stunted. They're not dumb though. They know how to text you in a way that the text message is just enticing enough that you want to reply, or you want to see what's up, or you want to know more. Right? He might even text you something like, "You'll never guess who I just saw." Doesn't matter. Who cares? You don't care. You're not talking to him. You want nothing to do with him. He's not ready to build a relationship with you. Who cares who he just saw? It's irrelevant to you in your life. Okay? But guys are good at this. Very good. Very good. And I'm telling you this as someone who's experienced this. Guys are very good at this. They know how to present you a situation in just a simple text message that is just enticing enough that you want to know more. Okay? And they use that as part of the strategy, because once you respond, he's like, I got you. You're weak. You're desperate. You're pathetic. I don't talk to you for weeks. And I message you out of the blue something random and you respond. And you know how dirty I did you. You're weak. Pathetic. And I'm saying this not to be mean to you, but I actually want you to understand why this is happening. Okay? Because he only begins to actually respect you when he realizes, oh, no, when I treated her wrong, and I did those things, and she said she was done with me. No. She's actually done now. It's actually over now. I actually missed my chance forever. Oh, I wasn't expecting that to happen. Right? And the thing about it is, and this is the crazy way how it gets you chasing when he ignores you like this. Because after he texts you, you respond, and then he doesn't respond. What's the first thing you start doing instead? So you're just going to text me and you're going to not respond? So you're just going to say that this thing about this thing and then you're going to not say anything afterwards? What's your problem? Why would you text me if you were just going to ignore me? Why would you text me just to leave me on red? What's the point of that? Aren't you going to finish what you were going to say? And once again, he's not chasing you. You're the one chasing him. You know when you send him that message? Because now you've double texted him. He texted you, you texted back, and now you're double texting. Okay? Once you send him that message again, he's got a Cheshire cat smile, which is just a smile from ear to ear, like a clown smile on his face, showing all 32 teeth, and his PP is rock solid. Rock solid. You know why? Because his ego is so happy when you do that. He's got a smile from ear to ear, and his PP is rock solid. Because his ego just took the biggest dose of dopamine that you can ever imagine. When you do that, show him you're like on your hands and knees, literally and figuratively, showing him how deeply desperate you are for his response, for his acknowledgement. Oh, yes. The men that want control over you, it makes them very hard to experience that. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just being so for real with you. Okay? So, I say all this to say, if you're in that state where you're supposed to be standing on business, where you're supposed to be withdrawing because he has made it clear to you that he is not presenting himself as the man you actually need in your life, this is one of the things that will happen, and you need to have an understanding. It's not an accident that he texted you something that's really enticing after you have withdrawn. And you need to have an understanding that the best way to respond to that is not to answer this enticing text message that he just sent you. It's to continue to ignore him. Because the only way you acknowledge a man who you have withdrawn from is if he comes to you first apologizing for how he acted and how he behaved and acknowledging that he was wrong, and then asking for a way and a strategy, or already coming to you with a strategy on how things can be adjusted or changed for the future so that it doesn't happen again, and looking for a way to make it up to you. That's the only time you acknowledge a man. All these other ways that a man is going to try to get you you back in his life are all these different social media games that they'll play to get around having to do that, but still having you. Right? Does that make sense? Tracy now says, do nothing, do nothing, do nothing. It's exactly what you got to be repeating to yourself in your mind. Obviously, do nothing sounds simple and it sounds like it encompasses everything that we talk about. But sometimes when I say do nothing, sometimes I know how you guys think. So sometimes when I say do nothing, some of you start thinking do nothing, except if he sends me a Snapchat, then I should snap him back. We've been on a streak for like 135 days and I don't want to lose the streak. Do nothing, but if he sends me an Instagram reel, there's no harm in just like liking the reel. We're not really even talking, right? But I'm here to tell you that's not doing nothing, okay? Right? I'm here to tell you that's actually not helping you in your situation and your quest for doing what you're trying to do, okay? So don't do that. Am I making sense to you guys so far? Okay, and why that's important with the three that we just mentioned, okay? Does that make sense? Right? Angelica says, just live your life. Why even think about him, right? It's easier said than done, which is why we come here in the Players Club and we have these discussions, because I know it's easier said than done. And I know that a lot of you need that constant encouragement. Okay, which is why I'm here every weekday for constant encouragement, because it's not easy, right? Other people will tell you, hey, it's so easy. Just stop caring. It's not that easy. Okay, let's be so for real. And I can acknowledge that in even experiencing that myself. We all need a helping hand sometimes. So I'm here for the constant encouragement and the reminder of what's going on in your life and in your relationships so that you can actually escape the grip. Okay, right? Because it happens to all of us. It's not just you. All right. So number one was the unsolicited memes that we just discussed. Number two, the suspect stories, as we like to say. Number three, texting to ignore. Number four, this is a really, really, really painful one. Okay. So I really want you to be paying attention to this one. Number four is very weird, but I know that it does happen. Trust me, I know that it does happen. Number four is when guys will start flirting with your friends. And specifically, they're going to start reaching out to your friends, DMing them, responding to their stories, right? Replying to them. All of a sudden, they find your friend very, very fascinating. Now that you and him aren't talking as much. Okay. I need you to really be paying attention because this is a really, really slick one. Really, really slick one. I tell you all the time, guys are not dumb. They might be emotionally stunted. They're not dumb though. This is a great strategy for them. See, it's hitting someone's ego and making them insecure about themselves, right, is a great way to get them triggered just enough that they will reach out to you and attempt to defend themselves, okay? Or attempt to call you out on the ways that you've made them insecure, whatever it may be, or the ways that you've done them wrong. So what I mean by that is, for example, let's say you and a guy are in a situation where he has disrespected you, talked down on you, and you're like, look, I'm done with this situation. I'm withdrawing myself from you unless you come to me on bended knee, begging for my forgiveness with some acknowledgement of what you did wrong. I'm withdrawing myself from you. Let's say you do that. And then all of a sudden, rather than actually apologizing to you or acknowledging his wrongdoing to you, he starts reaching out to your friend and responding to all your friend stories to the point where your friend actually sends you screenshots or shows you the messages saying, why is he always responding to all my stories? I literally just like his stuff, right? When he sends me a message, because I thought he was just trying to be like friendly or just cool. But like now every time I post something, he's responding to it every time. I'm telling you, these are like social media games that like the new age social media games. Okay, right? Or just, sending me private messages for some of you that might be on Facebook, right? Why is all of a sudden this guy that you were talking to or this guy that you were dealing with, why is he reaching out to me, right? Raina says, embarrassing. That's the thing, is that the guys, they want you to be embarrassed. Because it is embarrassing that, hey, I'm talking to a guy and now he's reaching out to you to chat with you. He's literally DMing you. He's talking about, you look good, girl. He's talking about, I see how you looking in them jeans, girl. You go, or you slay. Or he's talking about, damn, I didn't know you work out that much. Damn, you doing them squats crazy. I can see them squats doing you good. And he's talking like that in your friends' DMs. Of course, you're going to be embarrassed. You're going to be triggered. And you know what the first thing you're going to do is? Why are you talking to my friend? I see what messages you're sending her. You think I don't see the messages you're sending to my friend? Yo, you're so trifling. Yo, you think you're slick messaging my friend like she wasn't gonna show me all of the messages that you were sending her. Nah, you really think you got it, huh? This is exactly why I don't talk to guys like. And once again, he's got a smile from ear to ear, and his pee-pee is rock solid. Why? Because you're so triggered that all the withdrawing you were about to do, or all the withdrawing you thought you were going to do, now all of a sudden you're sending him 3 and 4 voice notes and 6 to 7 long paragraphs about all the things he's doing to you and how horrible of a person he is and how toxic he is. That in itself, that acknowledgement reminds him that he still has emotional control over you. I don't like to say this stuff to make men sound like supervillains, but I just need to be real with you about the stuff that goes on, because I know when you guys send me messages, when I start to see the same themes over and over again, it needs to be addressed when we talk about these things in the Players Club. Right? Because I know what's going on. I know why they're doing it, but I can see clearly that a lot of you don't understand what's going on. Okay? And I'm obviously here to help you. So when he's flirting with your friends, all of a sudden, when you have withdrawn from him, it's not an accident. It's actually meant. He's not. See, the thing about it is, he's not messaging your friend saying, damn, girl, you look good in them jeans. Damn, girl, I see them squats doing you well. He's not messaging your friend like that, thinking that you won't see it. He's actually messaging your friend like that on purpose, hoping that you'll see it, hoping that you'll be triggered, and hoping that you'll reach out to him and what? Begin chasing after him. Right? He's hoping that you respond that way. Because if you're withdrawn, that shows that you're disinterested. If you're disinterested, he can't get you emotional. If he can't get you emotional, or he can't trigger you anymore, then he no longer has control over you. And I told you that men are going to do these things because they want to have the control. They want to get you chasing because they want to have control. The more control he has over you, the less he has to give to you and offer to you, and the more you'll be doing for him. Because just like, I think it was Raina who said that it's embarrassing, right? Just like you feel embarrassed when he actually does that to you, right? And it triggers you, and then you send him that message. What do you think happens when he flips the script and he says, nah, honestly, I think you're better. Or honestly, I was only doing that because I'm mad that we weren't talking. And he flips it and he makes it seem like, if you would just see me, or if you would just speak to me, or if we could just spend some time together again, I wouldn't even need to message your friend. I don't even care about your friend. So then you start to think to yourself, in order for you to alleviate your own anxiety and get rid of your own embarrassment, the best decision for you to make is to go see him, or the best decision for you to make is to have him come see you, or you guys to spend some time together. And you know what happens when you spend some time together? He yap, chats to you for a little bit. You get a little bit of an apology out of him, a fake apology, and then he's right back in your guts, jackrabbiting himself for another 90 seconds while you count ceiling tiles. Okay? I need you to understand that there's a strategy here, and it's not an accident. It's not. Okay. Electric Feel says, is it because they want to trip out on the thought that he could have me back if he wanted? Yes. That's why I told you, when guys get you triggered like that, and then you send the long 3 paragraphs and you send the whole bunch of voice notes, it gets them hard. And I'm so serious about that. Because that's the ego boost that they needed to remind themselves that I still have control over you. If I'm triggering you to this point where you're sending me 3-4 paragraphs of messages, I know that I have control over you. Me knowing that I have control over you makes me happy. And a lot of times, right, guys don't even want to necessarily utilize you past that. They just want the ego boost of reminding themselves that they have that much control over you. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay? Right? Kitty says, testing to see if you're still on the line, 100%. And as time goes on, guys will periodically hop in and out just to see if they still got that control. Sometimes they might hop in and out, and then in the process of that, they'll sleep with you just enough to give themselves the ego boost, and they'll be gone again. And sometimes they only want the ego boost. They don't even care about sleeping with you. They literally just want the ego boost of reminding themselves that they have access to you if they want. I'm just here to tell you for real. Okay. Right. So, number 1 was unsolicited memes. Number 2, suspect stories. Number 3, texting to ignore. Number 4, flirting with friends. Okay. This is another strange one for number 5. Number 5 is complimenting others. Let me know in the chat if you've ever experienced this, where you're in a talking stage with a guy, and for one reason or another, he seems to constantly, whether it be in person with you or even over the phone with you, be complimenting other girls. Even to the point where he might send you like videos and pictures of other girls and be like, damn, look at her dump truck. Damn, look at her yitties. Damn, look how she's shaped. Damn, look at her body. Damn, she's one of one. See, I'm telling you things that I know some of you have experienced, so you're probably thinking, how the hell did you know about that? Okay. And they'll compliment others, right? Whether directly or indirectly, right? And in some ways, they might compliment others by, let's say, posting a supermodel or an IG model on their story. Okay. He doesn't post you, but he posts supermodels and IG models on his story. Okay. He doesn't post about your relationship, but he posts about what this other random girl who he doesn't know and doesn't know him is doing, right? These are part of the ways, right? He'll start complimenting others in front of you, or especially over social media, whether directly or indirectly. Guys are going to use this as a strategy to trigger your insecurity. Why? Because obviously, similar to flirting with your friends, obviously, complimenting other girls in front of you is going to make you feel insecure. Because, yeah, it's cool that you think she has a huge dump truck, but like when you keep talking about how huge her dump truck is right in front of me, to me, and even to the point where you're sending me pictures and videos of her, or you're continuously going on about her to me and messaging me about another girl, yeah, now I feel insecure. Yeah, now I feel triggered. And you know what happens when you feel that insecure or you feel that triggered? You, especially in terms of feeling insecure but beneath another woman to him, you begin to feel like it's necessary for you to prove yourself to him and show him how you're better than that other girl or those other girls. And so immediately you get in the validation mindset where you start thinking, oh, maybe if I put on my maid outfit and maybe if I get on the floor and I scrub it squeaky clean and I put my butt up in the air, he's going to notice me and he's going to think I'm even better than all the other girls that he's complimenting right in front of me. And what happens the moment you do that? You lose. because now you're chasing after him. And even more specifically, you're chasing after his approval, trying to prove to him that you're better than these other women. And a lot of times, the girls that he's complimenting don't even know who he is. And you're still triggered because you feel it necessary to compete with women that don't even know of that man's existence. It's a very silly game, but I know a lot of you fall victim to it because when guys are doing it to you and it triggers your insecurity, you can't necessarily control your response to it. But when I break it down for you like this, at the very least, when it does happen to you, you can remind yourself, oh, this is a strategy to trigger me. And he wants me to be in a position where I feel desperate. He wants me to be in a position where I feel it necessary to prove myself to him. Rather than staying in my lane and standing on what I know I believe in. And if he is not the guy that I was looking for, or I've withdrawn from him, I stay withdrawn from him. I don't allow something small like him talking to me about another girl or another girl that he's meeting or another girl that he's doing whatever with to trigger me. Okay. By the way, thank you so much to Charisse, who just became a member of the YouTube chat. So thank you so much. Okay. Now, I also want to make it very clear. Guys are also going to do this thing. For some of you that are like, no, actually, I've never experienced a guy messaging me about another girl or texting me, compliments of another girl. Another sense of this is when the guy that you're in a talking stage with, he comes back and he begins to tell you about the new girl that he's talking to. Tell me in the chat if you've ever experienced that, where you're kind of talking to a guy and things are kind of fizzling out, or you've taken a step back, and then all of a sudden he reaches out to you to tell you about the new girl that he's talking to. And you're thinking to yourself, this is quite strange that you're telling me about the new girl you're speaking to. It's intriguing enough that because you still have some feelings there, you want to know more. So you ask more and he tells you more, and everything he says makes you just a little bit more insecure. This is the same thing as complimenting others, because it's essentially like he starts to brag to you how he's doing more for this girl than he was doing for you, or he starts to brag to you how she's getting a better side of him than you were getting out of him, or starts to brag to you and make you feel like he thinks in his mind that she's better than you. And it's almost like, why are you telling me how much better you think that another girl is than me? What's the actual purpose of this, right? You might not realize, you just feel so insecure and so triggered that you feel it's necessary to defend yourself. So that's all you're thinking about doing is defending yourself. And when you're in that stage, right, you've already lost because you're already triggered, you're already emotional, and you feel that that's where your validation monster starts growing inside you, where you feel the need to start proving yourself to him and doing more for him. That's a strategy in itself. If I feel like you've withdrawn from me, or I feel like you've now become slightly disinterested in me, and I come to you to remind you that, hey, now I've got a new girl in my life and I treat her so much better than I treat you. And see, this is the really, 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 really slick men. They're smart enough to know not only will I tell you about the new girl, but I'll also tell you about how the new girl is getting the exact things that you were begging for. I know that probably hurts because you probably experienced that, right? The guys, they're smart. They're smart. So when they come to you and they tell you about the other girl, they don't just say general stuff. They say stuff very, very specific to you that they know you were asking for. Why? Because they want you to be triggered about that, right? They want you to say, so you're just going to give that girl everything that I was asking for. They want to make you feel as if, am I less than that girl? Because when I asked for it, you made it seem as if I was pulling teeth and it was so impossible to do that for me. But now that she is here in your life, you're giving it to her scot-free. It's almost like he literally bought a present that you asked for, and then he gave that exact present to someone else when it was literally made exactly for you. and you're wondering why he's showing off the fact that he made a handmade, well thought out present that was supposed to be for you, and he's flexing, giving it to someone else. It's very strange, but I'm telling you that this is a strategy and it's meant to trigger you, right? So when it does trigger you, that's what it's meant to do. And I want to remind you of that so that when it happens to you, you can be thinking to yourself, no, this is actually meant to trigger me. This is actually meant for me to have the response of, why would you do this? Why would you do that? How are you going to treat me like this? How are you going to give this to that girl? Blah, 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 blah. You're supposed to lose your mind and you're supposed to spiral, because then when you're in that emotional state, he can take control of you and he can get you to start making a lot of irrational decisions. Does that make sense to all of you beautiful people so far? Deborah says people are sick. You know, like I say, I'm not trying to make you guys pessimists, but I do have to be honest with you all about the things that goes on, because especially when I'm here with you basically every day and we answer questions in the chat and we talk about these stories and situations, and I know what's going on, but I can see that a lot of you or a majority of you are confused about what's going on. I have to address it and be honest with you about what's going on so that you guys are not confused anymore. Okay, this is why we could talk about this stuff forever, because there's always different situations and circumstances that lead to a lot of confusion on your part. Okay, someone says, is this live? 100% live. I can see your message. I think your name is Blotus. Okay, right. So unsolicited memes was number 1. Suspect stories number 2. Texting to ignore number 4. Flirting with friends was number 4. Complimenting others. And number 6 is subliminal posts. This is one that you've either experienced it or you've done it yourself. No, it's not a crime. Okay, we've all been there. But subliminal post is a great one that people are going to do, especially the guys are going to do when they want to trigger you and get you to message them. They'll do things like, let's say you're talking and let's say you end up withdrawing with the guy that you're in a talking stage with because he has shown himself to not be consistent with you, and he's shown himself to really just be here to have pineapples with you and nothing more, nothing less, right? And so you withdraw because you're not trying to deal with that. What guys will do, they'll do things like they'll post on their Facebook story, right? Or their Instagram story or their Snapchat story, depending on you, or WhatsApp story. They'll post on there, they'll say, they'll post a quote that goes, you know, when you thought you found the one that you were going to spend the rest of your life with, only to realize that she's just like all the other girls. So what happens, right? You open your phone and you go onto his story and you open up his story and you read that quote and you're thinking to yourself, you thought I was the one? You think I'm the one that messed up after all the stuff that you've been doing, right? And you're thinking to yourself, why are you twisting it because it feels like it's directly at you, right? It's meant to be a subliminal. So you feel directly attacked. So when you read that, you're like, I'm literally the one that was taking this whole relationship seriously. You're the one that was messing around and playing around, only here to sleep with me. How can you post this on your story when I am the one who told you I wanted something serious and you're the one who was literally playing around? You get angry because you're like, you're a fraud. You're a liar. And so what do? Once again, you pick up that phone, you go, I can't believe you would even post something like that talking about when you thought you found the one, when I'm over here the one basically asking you and telling you I want to be in a serious relationship and you're the one playing games. Once again, he's got a smile from ear to ear and his pants are bulging, busting out of their seams. Why? Because you have acknowledged that you are triggered, and because you are triggered, you are emotional. Now you're chasing after him. Now you're reaching out to him. And he's got you right where he wants you. Okay? And I mean that so seriously. That strategy is very, very slick because once again, he doesn't have to do anything. See, if you haven't noticed, all of these social media games are about him not having to, when he wrongs you, and guys aren't super dumb. They know majority of the time that they've wronged you, and majority of the time they know how they've wronged you. So when he wrongs you, a lot of times he doesn't want to acknowledge wronging you because that would require him to come to you and actually apologize and acknowledge that he's wronged you. And in order to get back his access to you, then he's going to have to actually make a change. So a lot of guys with these social media games, they're going to try to go and skirt around that, meaning they want to get access to you, but they don't want to have to go through the path of acknowledging what they did wrong, apologizing, and having to make a change. No, because that would mean he's chasing after you. That would mean he's pursuing you. He wants to keep it where you're pursuing him, but he still wants to have access to you. So he uses these social media strategies to go around that. That way he can still have access to you without actually having to apologize for anything, without actually having to acknowledge his own wrongdoing, and without actually having to pursue or chase after you. He can keep you right where he wants you while still having that same access to you. That's the strategy there. Okay? So that's why those subliminal posts come in. So once again, when you see a guy do a subliminal post, I want you to you check it. That's part of the reason why I tell you guys you should be muting guys or just overall in following them if you know that you get really triggered. Because that's what guys are going to try to do on social media is they're going to try to trigger you through their social media. And if you know you're someone with very little self-control and you get triggered very easily and you spiral very easily, it's better for you not to even have the ability to view his story or not to even have that story readily available on your timeline where anytime he posts, you can see it and be triggered. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? I want to thank Electric Feel in the YouTube chat who donated $20 in the YouTube chat. She is such an amazing donator. Electric Feel says, Tomisin, you're just too good at this. Thank you for spilling the tea. Thank you. I really appreciate the donation, Electric Feel. Thank you so much. Okay. I try my best to let you guys in on the way that men think and go about things. Just trying to be real. All right. So number one was unsolicited memes, suspect stories, texting to ignore, flirting with friends, complimenting others, subliminal posts. And lastly, we have one of the most prevalent ones that a lot of you have probably experienced is random unfollows. Random unfollows or randomly being blocked. Okay? Now, what I mean by random unfollows or randomly being blocked is a lot of times what guys are going to do is they know that if they do wrong to you or if they wrong you and you're upset with them, right, they're going to get less access to you. But here's the thing. If they make it seem like you have done something wrong to them and they're the ones that don't F with you anymore, they can put you in a position where you feel the need to apologize or at the very least wonder why he's the one upset with you. This is very slick, very slick. Why? Because when he blocks you or unfollows you, he makes you feel like you did something wrong to him. And the first thing you think, so when you go on his profile, right, and you're used to you check his profile every single day. So as soon as you wake up, you check his profile, right? That's the first thing you do. First, before you even drink your coffee, before you masturbate, before you do anything with your life, you check his profile. And you're checking his profile. And as soon as you check it, you're like going to search his name and you don't see his name come up. You're like, wait, what's going on? And you're like, wait, did I type it right out? And you have a screenshot of his username. So of course you go to your screenshot that you have of his username and you go back and you check, is that the right username? You copy and paste. You're like, no, that's the right username. Did he block me? No, he didn't. And then you go on your spam account, right? Then you're hastily going on your spam account and you're typing in his name, and then you see his profile and you go, he blocked me. How dare you block me after what you did to me? You think you're just gonna block me on Instagram? You think you're just gonna block me on Snapchat? Who do you think you are after you treated me that? And you've spiraled. You've lost it. Just that fast. You've lost it. because you feel the need to defend yourself, and you feel the need to let him know that he shouldn't be the one blocking you. If anything, it should be you blocking him. Your ego has taken a hit, right? Because when you were supposed to have withdrawn from him, when you were supposed to have taken a step back, and even in some cases, you were supposed to be the one who unfollowed and blocked him, you allowed him, right? Or I don't want to say allowed, but when he then unfollowed you or blocked you, you then said to yourself, that's what I should have done. That's what I should be doing to you, not you doing to me. And you become triggered because you feel like, how dare you do that to me when you're the one that wronged me? So you come to him complaining about the fact that he would block you or unfollow you. Maybe he blocked you on Instagram, so you send him a message, right? On iMessage, or if you have an Android, regular message, green message. And you send him a message basically trying to get him to explain why he would be the one to block you when you should have been the one to block him. And you start telling him all the things that he's done wrong to you as a way to tell him why you should have been the one that have blocked him instead because of how he treated you. And you think you're doing something by doing that, but in reality, you're just chasing after him. In reality, you're just showing him that he still has control over you. In reality, you're just reminding him that he can trigger you and get you so emotional that you'll be the one trying to prove yourself to him, right? You're the one trying to defend yourself to him. And so once again, instead of him apologizing for how he did you wrong or how he mistreated you in the relationship, he has circumvented that, which just means he's gone around that. And instead of having to go through that in order to access you, he's now gotten you to message him instead, right? Because you're triggered and because you've seen that he blocked you or unfollowed you. And now you're sending him a message instead, and he has access to you. Because what happens after you have that back and forth? He says, okay, let me call you. And then you call, you talk on the phone. He gives you some sort of cheap apology, or he just makes you feel like, okay, maybe we should just see each other and that will solve our problems. Then what happens? He sees you and then he jackrabbits himself inside of you for 90 seconds. He busts a nut. He busts a nut. And then he goes back to doing what he was doing. I don't want that life for you anymore. I don't. Okay? This is why I tried my best to share with you some of the most common social media games guys are going to play. Okay? And I want you to replay this for the rest of your life, because you're going to be dealing with social media games for the rest of your life. This is how we date now. And I want you to be reminded of all of these things so that you can never forget when you're in a precarious situation with a guy and you're not sure what to do, or you feel like you're being triggered, or you feel like you're starting to spiral. I want you to remember what the strategy is and why he's doing that in order to get a specific response out of you. Okay? Right? Risa says, I have literally played 5 out of those games, right? And this is the thing. Some of us have done it as well. There's nothing wrong with admitting that, right? And I'm not too high and mighty to admit to having done some of these things, if not all of these things myself, right? This is why I'm making you aware of it, because I want to make you also aware of how people are going to do things, especially on social media, to get you to do what they want. You understand? Right? Jenna says, did I miss what to do when he pays attention to everyone else's post pics, but not mine? That's kind of similar to what I called in complimenting others. Just basically a way of making you insecure by making you feel like other people are more valuable or worth paying more attention to than you. It's kind of the same idea. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. If you missed that part, rewind it on my YouTube. My YouTube is just above my head on the right side of the screen for those of you on TikTok, okay? Because I'm live on YouTube at the same time, right? Riz says, friends too, a lot of people are weird. Yes, I don't know if you guys have noticed the theme, but a lot of the stuff that we discuss in the Players Club can also apply to your friends and even like your girlfriends. You understand what I'm saying? So definitely keep that in mind as well. That 100%, this topic as well, the social media games, this can be happening with your friends as just as much as a guy that you're dating, which is why it kind of serves you in multiple ways, even if you're not currently in the dating market, if that makes any sense. Okay. Brave says, they do not realize how intelligent women are. We literally flipped the script, right? See, that's the thing. You guys are smart and you are intelligent, but see, the thing about it is the intelligence and awareness goes out the window when guys know how to get you super emotional and know how to trigger you, right? Because as soon as they get you emotional, they realize how they can trigger you, then it becomes very difficult to make really rational, sound decisions. And you're more inclined to make a decision based on exactly how you feel in that moment, because you want to ease your anxiety in that current moment or whatever it may be, right? And so that's, guys know that. They're not dumb. In the process of them growing and understanding people, they get to learn that the best way to control women is to trigger them or get them emotional in a place where they can't make rational decisions, okay? Krista says, the best thing to do is being unbothered and block them. My ex tried that ish with me and I disappeared and never contacted him again. He begged me to come back and apologize. See, that's the thing. I'm telling you, guys are going to play these social media games because they don't want to apologize or acknowledge what they did wrong. I'm just telling you the truth, okay? I'm telling you the truth. And I've even done this, right? Because it's a very good way to get a girl back in your life or to get a girl back talking to you without actually having to acknowledge any wrongdoing. And especially while still being able to have her be the one pursuing you, where you can still get princess treatment as a man. Okay, a lot of guys want princess treatment. They don't want to be doing nothing for you. Okay, does that make sense? Right? Apologies take less energy. Raina says. I mean, yes. No, I would say it's always an apology combined with him actually wanting to having a plan and a strategy to make a change and make an adjustment. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Chef says, but that sounds like more work than just apologizing. Yeah, coming up with the strategy on how to make an adjustment and how to make a change so that the behavior, so that the issue is no longer an ongoing issue in the future. That's way harder than just saying I'm sorry, which is why majority of people will just say I'm sorry and never actually do anything necessary to make a change, because that's way harder, right? Baba says, do you have any roots in Chicago? No, actually, I honestly just wear the shirt because it was a cool shirt that I was able to thrift. I'm actually from the states that I lived in when I was living in the States. I live in Toronto now, but I lived in Indiana and I lived in New York, in Staten Island, New York, and in Pendleton, Indiana. So maybe you know where those places are. Lynn John donates $10 in the YouTube chat. She says, should I not wish a guy happy birthday if he hasn't scheduled a date with me after 2 weeks? We've known each other since childhood and I don't want to seem petty, but I don't want to look desperate. That's an interesting question. If you've known each other since childhood, then and you guys have been kind of cool, but you're exploring a serious relationship, and for one reason or another, the serious relationship is not going where you want it to be going, I just don't understand. Like, what are you trying to do then? Because if you're going to be wishing him a happy birthday as if you guys are still just friends, well, then why are you trying? If you just want to be friends, then just be friends. Don't try to be building a relationship. But as soon as you say, hey, we were friends, but now I want to build a romantic relationship with you, all of the stuff that you were doing as friends goes out the window. So if you were talking to a new guy and he just stopped contacting you for 2 weeks, if you wouldn't wish that guy a happy birthday, you shouldn't be wishing this guy a happy birthday. So I wouldn't advise you to be wishing that guy a happy birthday. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Someone says, can a man fall in love through time even if he wasn't that interested in the beginning? I would say, I have to say no, simply because I feel like when someone asks a question like that, you're hoping that I will give you hope. But I need you to understand that if a man actually doesn't want to be with you and he actually doesn't want to be intentional with you, he will not be. So I don't want you to think that, hey, I should endure all this BS and I should endure him playing me and playing around with me, hoping that with time, he will eventually become interested in me. It does not work like that. So I'm going to say no. so that you don't have ongoing hope that a guy will eventually change and start liking you. That's not how that works. Okay. By the way, Lynn Joan, I hope I answered your question. Please don't say anything to him. If you're trying to date him now and this is not working out in a dating romantic sense, then you can't try to transition back into being there's no friendship now anymore. Okay. It's either you date now or it's done now. That's the decision you have to, for those of you that love your friendships, that are your platonic friendships, not to diss Lynn Joan, but for those of you that love your platonic friendships, as soon as they stop being platonic and you guys cross a line into exploring things being romantic, the friendship is done. So if you do not end up being romantic and being in a serious relationship, there is no going back to a friendship. If you try to, you'll be very, very confused. Okay? So with that being said, it's time. Please, Players Club members, please let the rest of the live stream know what time it is. Because there's a lot of new people here in the YouTube and especially in the TikTok chat. Okay, we've got 700 people. They all need to know what time it is because they're very new and they're very confused. I want them to know what time it is. I don't want them to be confused looking at their watch, looking at the clock, looking at the sky. That's not the type of time I'm talking about. Okay? If you're new to the chat here, please look in the chat to discover what time it is. It's a very special time. You're in for a treat. It will change your life. Why? Because Discord time! Let's go! Okay, for those of you who are very confused, it's okay to be confused. Discord time, I got spit all over the place. I know some of you are into that. Discord time is essentially when I hop into our Discord, our Players Club Discord, and all the beautiful, amazing members of the Players Club get to hop into the Discord and ask me questions in the Discord of their situations and their relationships, and I answer, give them advice live on the show. Okay, so for those of you who want to send in your question and you're on TikTok, you can just feel free to go into the link in my bio where you can see and get access to the Discord. You can ask your question in the relationship advice section and I will answer it live on the show as well. And for those of you who are on YouTube wanting to ask your question in Discord, just hop on. It's on the pinned comment at the top, or it's in the link in the description if you're watching this after the fact. Okay. By the way, it is sorted by date posted. So all of these highlighted are ones that I have not read out yet, and I still need to read out. So just keep that in mind when you do submit your question. There is a queue and a line of people, and I do them in order of the oldest question that hasn't been answered yet. Okay. Billiana. Okay. Billiana is who we're going to start off with today. Billiana says, how do I take responsibility without being too harsh on myself? Okay. Billiana says, hi, Tomisin, your advice is priceless. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am a 55-year-old female working in media. I train, eat well, and work on myself. People think I am in my 30s. Ooh, you a pretty girl. I was approached by a 34-year-old guy at work. I am not on dating apps. Smart girl. Okay. I ended a 10-year relationship and I was focused on healing. I had no interest in relationships. It was not a love at first sight for me, but I did feel drawn to him like I knew him. It almost felt fated. Okay. I'm going to try not to freak out. Okay. Let's see where this goes. 2 months after we met, he asked me to help him with a project, and that progressed by him asking for my Instagram, followed by telling me he was obsessed with me. Okay, let's continue. He refers to us as yin and yang and soulmates. Okay, I'm not going to attack this, and I'm not going to say that this is all a sham and a facade and a lie. I just always, I want you all, and Billiana, you too. I want you to be just skeptical when people will pour it on thick at the beginning. Okay? Not saying that their feelings for you can't be genuine, but I just want to remind you to pace yourself in relationships, and you don't want to get so swept up in the idea that this is so perfect and this is so amazing and you're everything I've ever dreamed for before you've actually gone through the ringers of a relationship yet, gone through different situations and circumstances. I know it feels amazing to just reside yourself to the fact that this is so perfect and so amazing, and everything I've ever seen in my Cinderella Disney princess movies is just like this. But in reality, there's lots to learn about an individual and a human being before you really know them. I just want to have you guys all keep that in mind. He sent a pic of himself naked. That's the soul ties? Is that the soul ties you're talking about? When his pee-pee's swinging in the video he sent you? Those are the soul ties? This type of stuff I'm talking about. It was cringe. I agree. I freaked out and pulled back. You should have. That was a good thing to do. He apologized, trauma dumped. What did he say? In my past, it's just been so hard for me that, whenever I get nervous, I pull my wiener out and put it on video chat and start sending it to people. That's my trauma is so horrible, and that's why I do that. That's what he said. And bombarded me with messages. Messaging me every 2 to 10 minutes for months. That's okay. That's a lot. I felt sad for him. He asked me to be his girl. So after he sent you a picture of his wiener, he asked you to be his girlfriend. Huh. Quite an interesting way to do that. Told me he adores me and is mad about me. I fell for it. This is why I tell you when people start, yin yang, we're soulmates. I mean, great, sounds good in a Disney princess movie, but let's see. That's all I want you guys to start thinking. Let's see. Let me learn more about you and let's see. Okay. 3 months in, we got intimate. Okay. I won't even, you know what? Based on all the other things that I hear in the chat, 3 days, 3 seconds, 3 hours. That's honestly not the worst thing in the world from the other, in comparison to the other people in the chat. In the Discord that we've read before. We were intimate several times. It was mesmerizing. And this is where things go downhill. This is where things go downhill. Not that it's bad to have a mesmerizing, intimate time with someone, pineapples with someone. But soon as you start talking like that, I know it goes downhill. Once you're dickmatized, you're cooked. Literally cooked. Especially if you're dickmatized before it's a full-on relationship, you're at his mercy. You're cooked. Literally cooked. So let's see where this goes. Stares into my eyes and whispers my name. He's taking a page out of my book. Okay? This is horrible for you. You're actually cooked now. You're done. It's over for you. Because what are you going to do now? You're obviously going to become attached to this man. And this is obviously going to become very overwhelming for you very quickly. So what are you going to do now? You're not going to be able to stand on boundaries. Let's see where it goes. One day he tells me he's in a relationship. Wait, what's this emoji supposed to mean? Oh, that's the drum roll. He's in a relationship. So that was just, so I'm sorry. It came so fast after the stares into my eyes and whispers my name. When you just said one day he tells me he's in a relationship, I could have sworn you said he refers to us as yin and yang and soulmates. So what type of mate is his girlfriend? What type of mate is she? If you're the soulmate, what is she? The spirit mate? Or is that's okay, so that one's not in his heart chakra. That's in his, what, like below here? Which chakra is that one? I know there's 7. I just can't remember what, if it's not the heart one. Maybe because that's the, okay. Is it the mouth chakra? That one? No? Interesting that he would say that. Anyways, let's go on. I was the second woman he ever slept with. I mean, was that supposed to make you feel better? I have a girlfriend, but you're like the second one that I've slept with. What? I'm not sure what that was supposed to mean. Let's go on. I was devastated. I cut him off after 10 months. I hope you meant like right after that I cut him off, but it was a total of 10 months, not I cut him off after hearing that 10 months later. I hope that's what you meant to say, the first one, not the latter. Recently he was promoted and now he's my boss. What just happened? Did I, like, have I missed a whole section of this story here? I'm okay. Now he's your boss. After he looked into your eyes, penetrated you deeply, and rearranged your guts. What are you supposed to do at work parties now? Okay, anyways, let's go on. Sorry, I'm sidetracking myself. When I stopped contact, he was asking why. I told him to stop and go away till he decides to make me his sole girlfriend. I'm sorry, what did you say to him? You told him to stop and go away until he decides to make you his sole girlfriend. I hope that you're paraphrasing with that, Billiana. Because what type of response is that to a man who has a girlfriend? I mean, I get what you're trying to do, but like, why are you even entertaining him by responding to him? There's nothing. Oh God, and he's your boss. This is horrible. I'm glad you sent this message because this is horrible in multiple ways. I added I was sick of his poor behavior. I didn't respond since. At work, he finds excuses to reach out. I ignore. You should. Honestly, this is horrible for you. This is a horrible situation for you. He reaches out either. This is actually exactly why, honestly, truthfully, I do. If you were to take my advice, I would advise you guys to avoid dating people in the workplace. And if you're going to date people in the workplace, I'd advise you guys to date people who are in different departments than you for exactly reasons like that. This is like a horror story. He reaches out either to tell me he misses me and how he thinks about us loads, or to tell me, I quote, I don't think it's a good idea for us to be close like that and working together because it doesn't mix well. What? So he tells you he thinks about you, and then in the same breath, he also tells you it's not a good idea for you guys to be close while working together. Yeah, it's also not a good idea for him to be penetrating you while you work together either. What? Okay. Why does he keep messaging? What are his intentions? He refers to ups and downs a lot. Whirlwind connection. He changed at work, became withdrawn while I am bubbly living my life. Is there hope? What do I do? How do I take responsibility for this without being too harsh myself? Thanks. Okay, you're actually in quite a conundrum, Billiana, because, me saying that you should withdraw is easier said than done because he's your boss. So not only is he like, if he was just a coworker, then it'd be easier to ignore because you don't have to answer to him. But of course, your boss is going to have to speak to you. Your boss is going to have to tell you things, and you're going to have communication with your boss, right? I don't want to ever advise you that you should quit your job or leave your job or change your position or anything like that, because that affects your money, that affects your life. But I think in this situation that you're in currently, the best thing for you to do is this, and this is way easier said than done. The best thing for you to do is you need to keep things absolutely professional 100% of the time. So from this point forward, you need to not be answering any messages that come after the time of 5:30 p.m. Once you clock out, you owe him no response. Okay? The only time he gets to access you is at work during work hours, where a regular boss should be able to contact you and access you. Outside of that, he should have no access to you. So as soon as you step out of that building at 5:30 p.m., any message he sends to you is irrelevant. Now, this is where you need to do some accepting. In the process of you doing this, he might get upset with you, and he might get confuzzled and say, well, you're not answering my messages after when I send you a message at 8:30 p.m. anymore. So now he's upset with you at work. This is where if he ever, you have to have something in your back pocket, because you have to be aware that some people are going to try to get what they want from you. Now, this is going to sound horrible, but if he ever tries to pull the card that, hey, I might have to talk to the upper management because I don't like that you're not sending me messages outside of work hours, and it's leading me to have a bad experience with you as one of my subordinates. If you ever get the sense that he's starting to pull that card out, you need to pull your trump card out and say, look, if I ever get the sense that you're going to start complaining to upper management about my my professionalism simply because I don't send you messages, well, then I feel like it's going to be very incumbent upon me to give your girlfriend some information about what you've been doing at work. I know that sounds horrible, and I'm not saying you should go ahead and do that. I'm just saying because you're in a work situation now, so you have to protect yourself. If you ever get the sense that he's starting to pull that card out, then you pull your trump card out, okay? Not saying that you should force that upon him, just in case he tries to pull that on you, because guys are very slick. In order to get what they want from you, especially when he's your boss, sometimes they might, pull that one. And that doesn't mean you even necessarily have to do it. You just have to pull it out so that he knows you have access to it. And that way he takes a step back. Even if you don't have his wife's number, even if you don't know how to contact his wife, just the fear that you may possibly do it. I said his wife, it might just be his girlfriend. But just the fear that you may actually do it is enough for him to say, let me chill. I'm doing too much. Let me stop messaging her and only keep it professional, because if I keep pushing, I'm going to push her over the edge and I'm going to mess this up for myself. Okay? Because truthfully and honestly, right, while I don't advise getting in other people's relationship and getting in the middle of it, even though he kind of puts you in the middle of it, I will say if someone tries to mess with you and your life, then you're going to have to make it clear that this is not a one-way street where you think you can just come and basically force my hand and force me to speak to you because you're my boss. Okay? So if he ever pulls that out, then you need to pull that trump card out. Okay? Someone said in the chat, Uno reverse. But this is precisely, I don't like that to say that you should do that, but this is precisely the reason why I tell you, someone just said it, don't mix business with pleasure, because situations like this happen where you literally have to play nasty and dirty in order to keep yourself protected. You understand what I'm saying? You shouldn't have to do that, and relationships shouldn't be like that, where if the relationship is not working out and you withdraw, then that person can still force you to talk to them or speak to them because of the dynamic of how you guys work together. You never want to be in a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? So if he does that, that's the only time you should pull out that trump card. And aside from that, keep it absolutely 100% professional. Don't talk to him outside of work hours whatsoever. Okay. Next we have here, let me make sure it's on date posted. Next we have here, let's see. Alisi, okay? So Alisi says, cut it off or mess around and find out. I have a feeling which side I'm going to lean towards, but let's see. Hi, Tomisin. I'm a 31-year-old female, and the guy in this situation is 24. The age gap is not huge. It's just at 24, you're in a different place in your life. I'll say that. But let's see. We met at a tennis center where he was the instructor for a group class I was taking. Okay. I ended up taking some private lessons. Oh yeah, for sure. You really did take them private lessons, ain't you? Yeah. He was horned. You were both horned up when them private lessons was going on. That teacher-student dynamic. After the second lesson, we started texting apart from scheduled tennis lessons, for sure. I showed up to the second lesson. Oh yeah, you showed up, all right. And court set, which I think caught his attention since he was making comments about it during the session. No. Let's be for real. When he made a note of it or he made a comment about it, you said, that's the one I'm going to wear so that he's horned up when he sees me next. It's okay. You can acknowledge it. It's like a guy complimenting you on a really nice dress and then you wear that exact dress the next time you know you're going to see him. It's okay. You acknowledge that. It's fine. That's not a crime. But you were horned up. You wanted him to be horned up. That's why you wore it. Let's be for real. Okay. Anyways, we were talking for 3 weeks because he left his home country for the summer. He's coming back in the fall to work at the center again. Okay. During the 3 weeks, he tried to get me to come to his place twice. He was seeing you in that, what you call it, a cord set. He was seeing you in that set, and he said, damn, I need to get some of that. He was trying to see what's underneath the skirt. Okay, anyways, let's go on. I completely denied it. He breadcrumbed going on a date twice just to ask me to come to his place at the end. So he's making it pretty obvious that it's not really about the date. It's just about how horned up. Maybe he has a tennis fantasy. I'm telling you, everyone has a different fantasy. Maybe he has his own teacher-student fantasy. He has his own tennis fantasy. So he wants to get you all sweaty in the workout and the tennis session, bring you back, and do you in the tennis outfit. I'm telling you, everyone has their different thing. That could be the thing that he's doing right here. Okay? Everyone has their own thing. We never had pineapples, just kissed in my car after class. I'm not dumb. I'm not dumb. Okay? I'm telling you, there's something to this. He wants to get you sweaty, right? During the tennis lesson, he wants to see you out there swinging the racket. He wants to bring you back home after the tennis lesson, and he wants to get down and dirty with you in the tennis outfit. I'm telling you. I've experienced enough and enough fantasies. I can see where this is going. I can see where his mind is going. Okay. After class and during his lunch break, low quality experience. I know I'm not just desperate, just a little curious. I swear. Listen. Okay. Let's see where this goes. When he left, I ended up unfollowing him and having him unfollow me on IG because I was ready to let it go. I think that was the smart thing to do. I don't think that he was really trying to build anything there. 3 weeks later, he re-finds me on IG and starts messaging me repeatedly, asking me why I wasn't responding to him over a week. I ended up responding, moment of weakness there. You've already identified that this wasn't for you, so what's the purpose of responding? He reeled you back in. I ended up responding and telling him I was offended that he didn't reply to a message I sent him with information for leasing a car before he left. That was the reason you unfollowed him, not because you felt like this was going nowhere. Interesting. Okay. Which he asked me for. He apologized and of course gave me the typical excuse of him being stressed and his dad being in the hospital as a reason for not responding. Of course, typical sob story. Not that he's lying. I'm just saying quite convenient that this crazy situation was going on that allowed him to not message you. But I think he was mad because I shut his DoorDash request down. You've been watching. Okay, you've been watching the show a lot for you to say that. This is an inside joke for those of you who don't know what she's referring to. He said he really wants to get to know me and be friends apart from tennis because he really likes my personality. He likes your personality, all right, but he wants to do you in the tennis outfit. I'm just going to be so for real, okay? Just telling you the truth. I told him I'll think about it and we can see how I feel when he gets back. Let's see how he felt. I thought by his actions he just wanted pineapples, but if that's the case, why was he reaching out to me in a whole different country and 2 months before he gets back? I mean, he's setting it up. And also, you have to remember, like I always tell you guys, if a guy really likes you, when he sees you at a party and he sees how viciously massive and voluptuous your dump truck is, and he's not going to come up to you and say, damn, girl, how did you get your dump truck in those jeans? They're so tight. He's going to say to you, oh my God, this feels like love at first sight. When I laid my eyes on you, I realized how much I wanted to be with you. Okay? He's not going to tell you that how tight your jeans were and how big your dump truck is in your jeans is what's making him actually want to come up to you and speak to you. He's going to make it seem like it's magical and fantastical. What do you think he wants if I already rejected pineapples? He just wants to pretend like he doesn't want pineapples to get pineapples. Okay. I'd love to know your thoughts on an age gap dating, particularly when it comes to older women dating younger men. As I mentioned, I'm 31 and the guy is 24. So do you think a viable relationship can be built with an age gap that large? What are key points to consider when discerning if there's a chance at a healthy, serious relationship in this situation? Okay. I don't want to say anything's impossible. So 31 and 24 is doable. However, he definitely has to have taken a maturity jump past the typical average 24-year-old guy. And I don't know necessarily if that is the position that he's in currently. Now, in terms of your own specific situation, I do think truthfully and honestly, if he was that serious about building a relationship with you, he wouldn't have. See, if you're getting the feeling that everything he's trying to do is always seeming to lead back to you either being at his house or in his car and you guys doing things together, then that should clue you into that that's what he's there for. And I don't think personally that magically changes because you reached out to him, or sorry, he reached out to you and told you how his dad was in the hospital and now he realizes that he wants to be in a relationship with you. Like, what? That doesn't work like that. So I don't want to say that it's not at all possible that he wants to build something, but I do want you to be very skeptical. And basically, I want you to do nothing, sit back, relax. And basically, when he comes back, you say, cool, you want me so badly? Do front flips and back flips for me and let me see how badly you want it. And from there, you don't text him, you don't call him, you don't reach out to him, you don't do anything for him, and you let him prove to you that he wants so desperately to be with you that he'll do anything to take you out on dates, he'll do anything to impress you, he'll do anything to prove to you that he is the guy that you're looking for. And then once you get the sense that he's actually serious about trying to prove himself to you over the course of multiple months and consistent behavior, then you can say to yourself, okay, you're here for something real. But if he comes back, or if in the next 2 months before he comes back, he doesn't really put in any effort and he expects you to start chasing after him or keep this going, right? Or you be the one putting in effort in order to keep this going, then you know he's not really there to build anything with you. He was just saying that so you would get reinvested and then he could extract what he wants from you, which to me seems like he just wants this tennis fantasy and he wants to get you, get up in you while you inside the tennis outfit. You know what I mean? He wants to feel like he's doing a tennis star. I'm just going to tell you the truth. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay. But yeah, that's what I think you should do with that situation. Okay. Anyways, let's go on to the next one here. Who we got next? Next is, how do I pronounce this? Ulevi. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ulevi says, SOS means someone help me. It's not healthy You give a reason why. Okay, and let's go on. Hi, Tomisin. First of all, thank you for all you do. You literally help society. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm single and trying to date good men. My last 2 dates have been very bad because they said sexist things. They both said things like women are problematic. And it's funny that that's kind of funny. He's saying that to a woman he's actively trying to date. That's pretty funny. A woman lays under another man to get over her ex. That's an assumption of a very specific situation that may or may not be someone's individual situation or circumstance. Let's go on. It seems like they're scarred by something, but let's go on. Mind you, they said these things when I was asking them about what they want in a relationship. You see why it's great to ask people questions? You get an understanding of how they think and how they operate, why they broke up with their ex and how they got over the breakup. See, it helps you understand how they're thinking. You're dodging bullets. And did not ask how the woman got over the breakup. I showed up with good intentions and wanted to date purposefully. I challenged them each time, left them, went home, and blocked them. That's honestly, I know that you're thinking, oh my God, this is tragic, this is bad. But what you're doing is you're using your time efficiently. So you go out on dates, you ask them a lot of questions, you get an idea of how they think and how they operate. And then once you realize that they're not who you're looking for, you stop wasting your time immediately. You should be proud of that because that's a very efficient way to use your time. I can assure you, eventually you will come across a man who is in line with how you go about life and what you want in a relationship. And then you won't feel the need to be like, this is not who I'm looking for, and then block him afterwards. I met them during my short time on Bumble. See? And deleted the app afterward as well. I understand excess men will always be out there, but I just want to repel them by default. So get off the dating apps. How can I do that? Get off the dating apps, which you've been doing. Is there any way to do that? What communicates to them that they cannot just even approach me in the first place? I think deleting the app was a good step, but I want to hear your thoughts. Okay, you sent all this. This is funny. Thank you, Ulievi, for the message. So obviously deleting the dating apps was the first step to doing exactly what you're trying to do here. The second step is very simply identifying a place or places that you would enjoy spending your time. I'm talking about outside of your house, that it isn't a bar, isn't a restaurant, and isn't a club. The reason I say that is because you can actually work on 2 birds with 1 stone here. Because when you go out to a place or you start doing things that you enjoy outside of boys, you're already enjoying the thing. So you're not hyper fixated on, I'm only here to meet more boys. The same way, like on a dating app, the more time you spend on a dating app, it becomes more agonizing for you because you're thinking to yourself, I'm only here to meet a boy. So why am I not meeting more boys that I want to meet? You get angry, right? And I don't want you to go somewhere thinking to yourself, I'm only here to meet boys. If I don't meet boys in the first 30 seconds, then I'm angry. Okay, that's not a good way to go about it. And you won't even be in a good mindset if you do meet someone. You need to be going to a place that you honestly enjoy without it being about getting into a relationship. And I promise you, once you start getting your groove into doing, whether it be joining a club, joining a class, doing a whatever, joining a group or community of people, once you start getting into the groove of that and getting into the groove of stepping outside of your house, you will begin to find that in all of those places you can go, you'll find that there are men there, that exist there. And in the process of the men being there, you'll eventually stumble across some people that you find interesting. And the best part about it is when you meet someone that way, you'll be able to have a shared interest, which you can discuss and talk about and bond over, as opposed to meeting them on the dating app and your shared interest is, I like the way you look. And he's like, I like how your yitties look. You know what I mean? Like, that's not really a shared interest when you meet them on the dating app. That's part of the reason why you can match someone on a dating app based on, I think you're physically attractive and you think I'm physically attractive. But by the time you meet them, you're not an emotional match whatsoever, which seems like what you've been going through, where you're meeting men and you're like, you're literally disgusting. You're not at all the type of guy that I'm looking for, right? You're only physically attracted to them and they're only physically attracted to you. Meanwhile, you guys have no sort of emotional connection. And in real life, you wouldn't even be spending your time in the same places anyways. That's the reason why dating apps become end up hurting you so much, because you're meeting people that you wouldn't even be meeting in real life, because you have no shared interest, no shared way of thinking, no real emotional connection there. You understand what I'm saying? So I think for you, the simple answer is obviously you delete the dating apps, but then you start spending time in places that you enjoy, that isn't a restaurant, isn't a bar, and isn't a club. And I promise you, I assure you, every time you step outside of your house and you go and do that thing, you're giving yourself a chance to meet someone who is interesting and could possibly be the love of your life. You give yourself a chance. Okay. Next we have here, let's see. We'll do one more. Okay. Lots of scrolling to do. So many questions, so little time. 235634. Is this meant to be a code for something? Says, does my guy friend have an issue with me? Whenever y'all start mentioning guy friends, I always get nervous. I am in a friend group of 2 individuals, 1 guy and 1 girl. Chat, what's the over and or under? Is it over or under, chat, that this is going to be a love triangle? Are we saying love triangle, yes, or no, this won't turn into a love triangle? Let's see. We are all in our 20s. I've started to pay attention that my guy friend treats me differently than our female friend. And it concerns me because his treatment has continued to be persistent over time. I love when our existence as humans is like duplicated amongst all of us. It never ceases to amaze me. He teases me a lot. Sometimes the teasing is lighthearted, and other times it is mean-spirited. Another thing I have noticed as well is that he is very critical of me. Everything I do or say, he observes closely, and then he either becomes hard on me. What type of hard? Dismissive, or accusatory, or presumptuous. Damn, using SAT words. You a big girl. Maybe even praiseworthy and complimentary if he chooses to be, particularly my style of clothing, body, etc. You a college girly? I like how you put this in essay form. I like that. I like stat. There are times where he is extremely sweet towards me and treats me gently, spoils me, and treats me like a princess when he wants to. And then there are times where he treats me or makes me feel insecure in myself. You love this man. Why are you talking about him like that? Is your Squirtle squirtling while you typing this out? He would not take me seriously some days either. You are really invested in this guy. I've noticed that he does not treat other female friends the way that he treats me, except for your other girlfriend in the group. Towards them, he keeps a mellow, respectful persona, whereas towards me, as described before, it's a mixed bag of all types of emotions, which are either really good or really bad. In terms of calls / texting, 90% of the time, I initiate them as a way of playing the role of a good friend. Kind of sounds like you're chasing because you're really into him. But I guess we can excuse that as being a good friend. Let's go on. He would do it too, but just not as much as me. So you like him more than he likes you. That's what you're saying. It's little things like that I've noticed which sort of make me question whether or not I am deceiving myself by thinking I have a friendship. Do I befriend a man that deeply or subconsciously does not want to be associated with me? Okay, I am actually so glad that you asked this question. 235634. That's probably the passcode to your phone. I'm glad that you asked this question because this is one of the reasons why I honestly will tell majority of all of you in this chat to just not even attempt to be good friends, best friends with a guy. Now, I understand you're going to have acquaintances and you're going to have casual friendships with people that you don't really see or speak to that often. That's not a crime, and that's not the friendship I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is this idea that me and this guy are best friends, okay? People get so confused by putting things, by not being honest with themselves about how they feel or how someone else feels towards them. And they put all of this jumbled up mess under the umbrella of friendship. And it's very dangerous because it's very confusing and someone always ends up getting hurt. Because the truth of the matter is, when two people are a straight man and a straight woman are investing this much of their time and energy into each other to be best friends, talk all the time, every day, 24/7, it's because one person or the other has feelings for the other person in the relationship. Okay? And a lot of times people, whether it be guys or girls, want to deny that as a possibility because they don't have those feelings towards that person. So they can't imagine that this person is in a friendship with them because they have feelings. When in reality, if they were to really break it down and people were to really be honest about themselves and to the person that they're best friends with, you would actually realize that given the opportunity, one party or the other would gladly take this thing to the next level. But everyone suppresses that and puts that, they put that in the basement underneath the umbrella of friendship, and they just go along with the best friends thing. Clearly, in this scenario, you are the one who is interested in him romantically. Let's just be so for real. This isn't really a friendship to you. Look how you're describing me. He teases me a lot, and it's lighthearted. Sometimes he absorbs me closer, and then he becomes hard on me. He's praiseworthy or complimentary about my style or my body. You're like heated up as you're describing this. I'm not saying that to cast aspersions on you or say that you're a bad person. I'm just saying that because it's obvious that you're taking this more to heart than just a friendship. Okay? It clearly means more to you than just a friendship. That's not a crime, but here's where you need to help yourself by either building something with him or just not doing this friendship thing. Because what it seems like here is, as time is ongoing, you're becoming increasingly invested in him. And also you're going to start becoming increasingly offended if he were to show more attention to another girl. See, right now you're in a situation where you feel special to him. He doesn't act like he does with you, like he does with other women. Towards you, towards other people, he's more mellow, but with you, he's very different. Right? That makes you feel special right now. But what happens if another girl comes in his life that's actually his girlfriend, that he acts like the way that you're describing he acts with you? And now all of a sudden, you're not the only girl. You're actually not even the different girl. You're less than the new girl that's in his life. Now you're hurt and you're trying to scramble to keep this friendship going on, even though you don't actually just want it to be a friendship. You want it to be more than a friendship, but he's building a relationship with someone else, so it can't be more than a friendship. The reason I say that is because you need to help yourself by not putting yourself in that very painful scenario, by just being honest about the fact that, look, I know I have feelings for you. You don't necessarily have to come out and say that, but you might have to say to yourself, if I'm getting the sense that you're not here to build a relationship, I might have to withdraw or take a step back from you to properly detach myself. Because if I don't, I'm literally going to lose my mind. Because you guys can be friends now, but eventually he will get a girlfriend. And so what are you going to do then? Right? You're going to be in a position where if you're his best friend, he's going to be coming to you for advice. And the first piece of advice you're going to naturally want to give him, because you want to be with him, is going to be break up with her. Get rid of her. Because you want her. Sorry, you want her. You want him. Now, that doesn't make you a bad person. That's exactly how you're going to be inclined to feel because you like the guy. But it puts you and him in a very, very tough situation. So I do think that if you're getting the sense that he's not here to build a relationship with you, and you know that you are starting to warm up to the idea of building a relationship, you might have to withdraw for the sake of yourself. Even though it's painful and even though you might lose the friendship, I think in the end, it better serves you and your emotional state to withdraw from someone before it gets so deep that you're in more pain by getting hurt by him getting a new girlfriend and then throwing you by the wayside. I know that doesn't sound super fantastical or amazing or, like the most fun thing to do, but I do think that's the thing that you need to do. Okay? Because I do think in this scenario, because you asked why did he befriend you? I do think in a scenario like this, where you like the guy and he doesn't seem to like you as much, you might be doing something for him in terms of boosting his ego or making him feel good about himself. Because you probably compliment him, you probably talk about his amazing qualities, you probably make him feel like the man. That's an ego boost. So some guys will keep you around as a friend, knowing they don't plan on dating you, but as something to fall back on and to help build their confidence. Then they take that confidence and they go chase after another girl. That's not you. Not saying that to scare you, but I just want you to understand how these dynamics work and how they function and how they can eventually turn into a situation that will be very, very painful for you. Okay, so that's my advice to you. All right, so that's the show for today. I hope that you guys got some value from that. If I didn't get to answer your question on this show, don't fret, don't worry. I will definitely answer your question on future shows. I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, so and also if you want to know where to send in your question, all you have to do if you're on TikTok is go over to the link in my bio where you can submit your question in the Discord there on the link in my bio, or you go into the YouTube chat if you're in YouTube and you go into the link in the description at the bottom and you can find the link to the Discord there where you ask your question in the relationship advice section. Okay. And for those of you who love me so much and you want to know more about me, see where I've been, see what I've been doing at all times of the day, and you want to get a more personal sense of me, you can just hop onto my Instagram, which my Instagram is right above my head on the top left side of the screen there, or it's right at the bottom right of the screen there. And you can follow me on Instagram, scroll through my page, see everything I've been doing, and see how I came birthed into this world and sitting in front of you on this chair today. Okay. And for those of you who are on TikTok and you are like, oh, I missed part of the show, I missed one of the points, can I rewatch this again? Don't worry. This entire live stream show is available on my YouTube. So you just type in my YouTube name. It's right above my head on the right side of the screen. You type it in on YouTube and you go into the live section. You'll be able to find this live stream along with every other live stream that's ever existed since the beginning of I started doing this. And you'll be able to watch that in its entirety, okay? The best part is when you go into the live section, you get the whole show with the TikTok and the YouTube live chat embedded in the video, so you never miss any bit of conversation or funny jokes that you guys put in there. I'd be watching it back. You guys are funny in the chat here, so don't think I missed that. So that's there available for you guys as well. I want to shout, I think 2 people out here. Let's see, 2 people that donated. Oh, it was... Melody, became a member of the YouTube, I don't want to say chat, but the YouTube channel here. So thank you so much, Mello, for being a member. And I do believe someone else donated. Sorry, I can't scroll up enough to see the other person that donated. I think someone else did donate as well. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for those of you who donated on TikTok as well. I appreciate you. All right. So that's the show for today. I'm going to be here tomorrow at 4. Tomorrow's Friday, right? Yeah, I'm going to be here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm here every weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So figure out what time that is in your time zone. Just used Google. All right. Until then, arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, bon voyage, goodbye for now. Until I see you again at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, I love you so much. So much. Have a good rest of your day, night, or morning. Okay?